Jurassic World is a 2015 dinosaur horror thriller movie starring Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt, Vincent O'Donoghue, T.Y. Skimpson, Nick Robinson, and Omar Sky. The Jurassic World theme park lets guests experience the thrill of witnessing actual dinosaurs, but something ferocious lurks behind the park's attractions: a genetically modified dinosaur with savage capabilities. When the massive creature escapes, chaos erupts across the island. Now it's up to Owen and Claire to save the park's tourists from an all out prehistoric assault. Now, with the franchise being dead for a while, you can imagine my little child self was really excited to see this movie because Jurassic Park was something I loved when I was younger, and knowing that they were bringing Jurassic Park back with the Jurassic World movie, I was super excited, and I went to see this movie the first chance I got. I bought all of the shitty Hasbro toys that came out to coincide the release of the movie. I was super excited. And when the movie came, I gotta say, I wasn't disappointed. So after the failure that was Jurassic Park, Masrani actually acquired the rights to InGen, and he made another park over the ruins of Jurassic Park from the first movie all the way back in 1993. He captured all of the dinosaurs that were running wild on the island and genetically created some new ones as well. He believed in the aspect of having his guests have fun as well as having the dinosaurs have fun. And while yes, it was about money and Masrani was a businessman, he more or less wanted the animals as well as the guests to have a enjoyable experience, which is cool and again goes back to how John Hammond was in the first movies. He wasn't a greedy businessman who's only concerned about power and money. He actually has some empathy behind him, and he's actually a really quirky character in the movie at some points, which makes his death in the movie's second act all more emotional. The movie actually brought something new to the table compared to the last two Jurassic Park movies, where we simply had a bunch of characters thrown on an island that was overrun by dinosaurs, and the characters are fighting for survival. In this case, we have a fully functioning park with actual exhibits and cool dinosaur themed attractions, and they're even working on a super scary hybrid dinosaur, which definitely won't become a major plot point. The characters in the movie are pretty decent. We follow characters Zach and Gray Mitchell, who are brothers, and then we follow Owen Grady, who used to be involved with the military for some reason, and then we also have Claire Deering, who is kind of one of the big businesswomen in Jurassic World, and she basically helps Masrani with the numbers and everything that is going on with the park. She's a very confident and very stern businesswoman. One of the things that actually is really cool for her character development is at the beginning of the movie, she seems to only care about how the park is doing and the numbers and everything that's involved with the business of running the theme park, and doesn't really care about the dinosaurs themselves. And that's one of the things that her character develops on. So, with the release of the Indominus Rex killing all these innocent dinosaurs and causing mayhem, she slowly begins to realize that they are indeed actual animals with actual feelings, and so it becomes more emotional for her because she feels bad because she was kind of responsible for the creation of the Indominus Rex. So she teams up with Owen Grady to put a stop to the Indominus Rex's rampage, as well as to find and rescue her nephews. Owen Grady really doesn't have much character development in this film. He's just kind of there to be cool and to be a badass. And Chris Pratt does that extremely well for Owen's character. He really doesn't have anything outside of just being cool and, being in relation to the velociraptors that are let loose in the movie. And doesn't have really anything outside of just being cool and, oh man, I'm friends with the velociraptors type thing. And most of his character development doesn't come into future sequels in the Jurassic World franchise. Another cool thing that the movie adds is the horror aspect of the film. In fact, this film actually goes a lot into the violence of the film. In the older Jurassic Park movies, they really just kind of cut away from deaths and rarely showed people getting eaten. So the fact that this movie goes all out with people getting killed and thrown up into the trees falling on people, destruction and chaos, and it's all visible, like you can see everything. It kind of disturbed me as a kid. I'm not saying that older Jurassic Park films weren't violent and didn't have a lot of death scenes in it, because they definitely did. It's just they were very selective in how they killed off their characters. And in most cases, they literally cut the screen to leave it to the imagination on what could possibly have happened to this poor individual who's getting killed by compies or getting eaten by a Spinosaurus or getting killed by a velociraptor. They really left it to your imagination, which was what added to the horror. But in the new film, they went all out with the visibly showing you the person get killed and ripped apart and maimed. Zack and Gray are pretty cool when it comes to main characters as well, giving me a lot of Lex and Tim vibes from the first Jurassic Park. The characters don't seem to really like each other. Not saying that Zack doesn't like Gray and Gray doesn't like Zack, but they almost seem to be kind of sibling rivals. They're not really excited to be hanging out with each other for the weekend. However, as the movie goes on, it becomes clear that they do, in fact, care about each other, and Zack even has a heartfelt conversation with Gray. And all of those harmless pranks are just that, harmless pranks. So throughout the course of the movie, Zack's mom says that, oh, Zack can be so mean to Gray. And it becomes more or less that Zack is more putting a harmless prank on Gray, his little brother, and less than how it initially appears that, Zack is just being an asshole to Gray. And it's this that I think is really dealt with well, and the actors did a great job. I forget their names, I'm sorry, but they did a great job of bringing that kind of sibling rivalry, but they still love each other at the end of the day type of thing to life. And it isn't treated like Zack or Gray hate each other, but rather that Zack is just uninterested in anything that Gray does. Gray is a nerd and is very enthusiastic with dinosaurs and other stuff like that. And Zack is just kind of into girls and doesn't really care about Jurassic Park. Until finally he's given that oomph via Gray telling him about the mosasaur, and then finally he's invested. And him and Gray go on a big adventure that's sometimes dangerous called Jurassic World. And they meet up with Owen and Claire throughout the movie's second act, and it's pretty cool. The movie is alright, and I like the inclusion of having a hybrid monster dinosaur. That's really nice, and I like that it's an operational park compared to Jurassic Park, which was just a park that was in the making, and all subsequent sequels having it just be an island with characters on it trying to survive dinosaurs. So it was a nice breath of fresh air. The main villain of the movie is Vic Hoskins, who is trying to use the raptors as soldiers, and things go very wrong when Masrani dies, and Vic takes control of InGen, and basically he's allowed to do whatever he wants, which leads to some very bad choices, and he ends up dying, as most villains end up doing, and we end up getting a really cool scene where Claire releases Rexy. This is the same T-Rex from the 1993 movie, and Rexy goes into the visitors kind of center area where all of the stores and everything are, and fights the Indominus Rex alongside Blue and her Velociraptors. At the end of the fight, only Rexy and Blue remain. It's a really cool movie, and again, it's something new that we haven't seen for the Jurassic Park franchise. But with that, let me know what you guys think about Jurassic World. And with that being said, do take care, have a great night, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that may be.